I wanted to welcome Becca Peixotto. She is an archaeologist, and she just moved from Washington, D.C. to Dallas to take on a new role at our Perot Museum of Nature and Science in Dallas. So she is now director of the Center for the Exploration of the Human Journey at the Perot Museum. But before that, Becca's claim to fame was really as an underground astronaut. So in 2013, she was one of 6 women to excavate the remains of a newly discovered ancient human ancestor from a cave in South Africa. And to get down there, they had to squeeze through an opening that was just about 8 inches wide. And so the expedition was led by a paleoanthropologist named Lee Berger, and they discovered one of the largest troves of new human ancestor fossils ever found. So I wanted to start by asking Becca to talk a little bit about how she got involved with that expedition, since it's led directly to her new role at our local science museum.
So in 2013, I was on a gap year, so to speak, between my master's and my PhD program, and an ad came up on Facebook. Let's see. This ad was posted on, the physical anthropology, biological anthropology groups on Facebook. Basically, it says, we've found this thing in a cave. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want some folks who are small archaeologists and paleoanthropologists with caving and climbing experience, and can you come to South Africa now, and we might not pay you. So I didn't actually see this. A friend of mine saw this and sent it to me with a note that said, I think this might be you. And I very quickly fired off a CV and a cover letter, and thought, okay, well, that was good. At least I tried. And I didn't expect to hear anything back. And about 3 weeks later, I was underground in South Africa. It was myself and 5 other women who were selected to be the primary excavators. We were dubbed underground astronauts, and the pose in this picture is deliberate because Lee wanted something catchy to say. And also, nobody knows what a pteronaut wasn't going to work. Speleonaut sounds silly, whatever. So we became underground astronauts, and it stuck. And the fact that we were 6 women, I think, says a lot about the field of paleoanthropology and archaeology. That, the people who were the most qualified with the combination of caving, climbing, excavation, analysis, all of those skills just happened to be 6 women. Amongst us now, there are 4 PhDs, I think 8 masters. We know what we're doing, and we did then. We've all since gotten more degrees. So anyway, yeah, that's how I got involved. And then the Perot Museum has had a partnership, or has had a relationship with Lee Berger since really 2013 or 2014, and various combinations of us have gone to the Perot to do outreach, give talks, work with schools over the years. And the Perot decided that they wanted to expand that relationship into a formal partnership and develop a center of excellence around human origins, human evolution, and hence the Center for the Exploration of the Human Journey.
So tell us more about the center and its mission and your new role there.
Yeah, the center only formed in May or just launched in May of this year when I came to the Perot Museum. Our mission is to be a catalyst for education and dialogue, and we want to become a laboratory for innovation and science communication with our roots in paleoanthropology, but in all of the allied fields that help us understand our human origins. So we have lots of outreach, education initiatives that we are just starting. We're only started in May, so we're just starting to launch some of those. And to really have a larger voice for human evolution in Dallas and in the museum. And it comes, we're lucky that the timing worked out. The museum just reopened their Being Human Hall with a reorganization that puts more emphasis on becoming human. There's a section of the exhibit that is becoming human, and how the things that we study as paleoanthropologists, or my colleagues and I study, related to bipedality, how those relate, for example, to things that modern humans do. So you might look at early footprints, and then you move into some activities or some parts of the exhibit that are looking at, your gait, and how do modern humans walk, and how has that changed over time, and how are doctors and physicians studying that now, for example. And it's like that with the hands and with, I have lots of things that make us human. Cool exhibit.
And you have really innovative ideas about the role that technology can play in helping you translate that field research to a broader audience. Mm-hmm. And so can you talk about some of those initiatives?
Sure. So one of the things that we run into with this cave, and I'll show you a video in just a few minutes, is that nobody can get there. Lee Berger can't get there. There's probably 25 people that have been into the chamber where the fossils are. A combination of geologists, some of our cave safety, cave explorer folks, and then those of us that excavate, and that's it. Part of that is trying to protect the site, but a big part of that is, in order to get there, you have to be able to fit through an 18-centimeter gap. Not only do you have to be willing, you have to be able, you have to be willing. So those two aspects exclude a whole lot of people. So we want to be able to share the cave and what the cave looks like, and what this really fascinating site where we've found more than 2,000 hominid fossils representing a minimum of 15 individuals, this new species that's Homo naledi. We want to be able to share that with our colleagues who are scientists, but also with students and with teachers. And so this year in the museum, we opened a virtual reality section of the exhibit. So you put on the virtual reality headset, you go into the cave, and you get an opportunity to pick up fossils, see the excavation, and hear part of the story of how this work is conducted. And here on the screen, you can see an actual picture of the Tonality chamber excavation area from 2013. And there are orange and yellow lights in there. That's not a weird picture. We had LED lights lighting the cave at that time. And they had their native mode was disco mode, so they'd cycle through different colors. So we have a few, it's always hard to find the remote to change it to plain white. So we have a few scientific photos that have this weird purple hue to them, or in this case it's orange. Anyway, so that's the Tonality chamber in real life, and then on the other side is the screenshot of the virtual Tonality chamber. So it's a real, it's a pretty good representation of the cave and what it looks like. And there's 3D scans of fossils that then you can pick up and rotate around and manipulate in the virtual space. This is a stationary virtual reality exhibit, so you don't actually maneuver through the space. That's a bunch of reasons for that, including throughput for the museum and the fact that we don't want people wandering around with headsets on in the museum. That would be sort of a disaster.
And then you're going to build on that, right? And sort of have more new ways of using virtual reality in the future as well. Yes,
exactly. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be launching a version of this app to the public that's going to have narration in 6 languages, including 3 languages that are local to the region in South Africa where this cave is. They're all voiced by scientists who are part of the project. So I sent out a call to all of my colleagues. There's about 150 scientists on the project, and said, hey, who wants to do a narration in their native language? And so we ended up with 6 folks. That's how big we could make the app. And it'll be a free app for Android and iPhone, and it's designed to work with Google Cardboard. So we have, the nice sort of manufactured Google Cardboards, but one of the reasons that I was excited to make this a cardboard app was to reduce the economic barriers to access to this technology. So we have partner classrooms who are actually making their own cardboards. They're making the little lenses out of soda bottles and water and gluing them together, and building the frames out of cardboard boxes, right? So we're sort of hoping to involve more classrooms in that maker, do-it-yourself access to technology as well. And then together with the app, we have a website that has a few lesson plans on it. We're hoping that more teachers will contribute lesson plans as they get an opportunity to use the app. And the lesson plans that we're putting up are matched to the TEKS standards. So hopefully that helps teachers figure out ways to use it in the classroom. So I have, just to give you a sense of what it's like in the cave and why this virtual reality is helpful. What you're going to see here is us removing a mass of sediment and fossil from the cave. Typically, we excavate the fossils individually, and then we package them individually and bring them out in their very small little packages. In this case, we weren't able to do that because of this particular area of fossil and sediment, so we brought it out on block as a big chunk all encased in plaster. And what you're going to see here is us moving this 26-kilo block up this 12-meter vertical chute that's 18 centimeters wide as its narrowest point, and then out the rest of the cave system. And it's sped up, so it only takes about 2 minutes. In reality, it took us close to an hour, which we thought was really fast. Thought we were going to take longer. But I'm showing this video so you get a sense of what the cave is like, and also the fact that this is a really, really collaborative project. You're going to see people in this video who are sort of our technical experts doing the rope work, managing the rope work for us. You'll see, what you won't see here are some of the other folks that participate in the analysis and help us with the other technology aspects, the 3D scanning and that kind of thing. So that's my colleague Marina. You're looking at the video. Most of this is from my helmet cam. Some of it will be from Marina's. And there's that bag. It's sort of shaped like a torso, just because that's what would fit out the hole. And there you can see Marina using her body as a boost to get the bag up high enough through a slot that it would fit. And the bag weighs 25, 26 kilos, so 50 odd pounds. And here we are sort of on a controlled zip line, lowering it down that area is called the Dragon's Back. It's a very narrow fin of rock that if you were to fall off of, it would be catastrophic. So one of the things I like to talk about when I talk about this project with students is really the teamwork aspect of it. And we hear a lot about, particularly in human origins, we hear a lot about single scientists that make these grand discoveries, and that masks the reality of massive teams of people working on these projects. So it's dark in the cave. It's proper dark in there until you get right to the entrance. And there we are coming up to the surface. And this is a photo that some of you may have seen before of about a third of the fossils that we had recovered at that time. We've now got more of Homo naledi. And you can see there's lots and lots to talk about. I actually have some second graders who I'm working with that we gave them 3D prints of the fossils and didn't tell them what bones they were, and they were doing comparative anatomy to figure out what bones were what, and it was pretty cool. Second graders have great little minds. It's awesome. I don't know if I have.
Yeah, and at the museum you have these amazing 3D prints of the Homo naledi skull and different bones, and then you have kids doing actual hands-on activities, right?
Exactly. A lot of the fossils are scanned and available on Morphosource, so anybody can download them and print them if you have a 3D printer, or if you don't have a printer, you can look at them on your computer screen and manipulate them. So it's really, that's part of the ethos of the Rising Star expedition is open access, and so most of the papers we publish are published in front of the paywall and not behind it. The app will be free with other ways for reducing barriers to access. The fossils, you can access them and do your own analysis of them, or have your students do analysis of them. So it's exciting to be a part of a project like that.
Yeah, what I like best about this project and the museum is that often when you go to a science museum, because exhibitions are so elaborate and they take so much time and expense to design and and orchestrate and install. When you walk into a museum, especially when you're walking through a human origins or evolution section, you get the sense that everything's already been discovered, right? That there's nothing else to, no other questions, it's sort of settled science, a bunch of facts that you can memorize. But through this partnership with Becca and her team, they're going to keep updating the exhibition. And Becca, at the end of this month, is going back to South Africa to do another excavation, and she'll be doing that repeatedly. So I was wondering if you could talk about how you're going to kind of include your new discoveries and new experiences in the exhibition and in your communication efforts.
Yeah. I'm working with our exhibits team in the museum right now to there's a bunch of video screens in the exhibit, and we're going to try to take one of those video screens over for the period of time that I'm underground, that we're excavating, so that we can send back videos of, this is what we were doing in the field today or yesterday, and here's the fossils we found yesterday, to sort of update what's in the museum and show that this is work and this is research that's ongoing, and we don't have all the answers about human origins yet, and we're trying to find out, and that's really cool. And then also the pitch for all of the teachers and educators out there. We like to do outreach when it's part of our mission when we're excavating. So if you want to connect with us virtually, either from underground or in other ways with your classrooms, certainly reach out to me, because we like to talk to students. We have a few systems for doing that. So.
Yeah, on that note, I wanted to ask you generally, how can educators best interact with the Perot Museum and your new center?
Yeah. Wow. If you have ideas, let me know. I'm open. We don't have a long tradition of things that we're trying to fight against. We're trying to create new ways. So if you have ideas of how you want to interact with us, certainly reach out to me. We're on Twitter at Perot Museum, CEHJ. I can give you my card so you have my email. We'll have, once the website and the app are live, we're certainly looking for people who are willing to contribute lesson plans and share their experiences working with, using the app and using the lesson plans in classrooms.
So in your experience, what have you found to be kind of the best ways of engaging the public in paleoanthropology and in what you do?
Yeah. For me, and I think many of my colleagues on the project find this as well, when we're speaking with sort of general audiences who may or may not have an innate interest in paleoanthropology, the exploration and discovery side of this. We're doing lots of different kinds of science in this project, but it's all coming from a point of curiosity and a point of exploration and what's around here. The Rising Star Cave is a couple hundred meters from the earliest known controlled use of fire. We're a couple kilometers from sites like Sterkfontein and Malapa, other major early hominid sites, but no one bothered to look in Rising Star until 2013, because there were all these other sites that were really interesting. And so, scientists sort of got a little bit myopic and just really concentrated on sites they knew were there. And what we're finding with Rising Star is there's a lot more in our backyards than we really understand. And so starting from that point of exploration and what's around here and what could we discover, what haven't we seen yet, even though we think we know this place really well. I think that to me helps with getting those conversations started. And then I can talk about the fact that we found a new species of early human relative called Homo naledi, and it's roughly 250,000 years old, and it's got this crazy mosaic of characteristics, some of which are very much like modern humans, and some of which are really like some of our more distant relatives. And we can talk about, that opens up the space for those other kinds of conversations.
Well, thank you so much, everyone.